I remember we all just kind of crying there.
Oh, man.
But like the Lord put on my heart, like this is
the
when
moment.
you tell them about me.
When we're talking biblical masculinity, what we're saying is, like, to be a man means that there is a pursuit of Jesus.
Yeah. So you want me to go into
Yeah.
So got to campus.
What's up, y'all? Thank you for joining us on the Patros Podcast, where we are learning to embrace healthy masculinity. I'm Allan Pereira. This is my guy, Jeff Ford, co-host.
Co-host.
I
like that.
Yeah, because you're not the host.
No, we are hosting together.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
and then we serve the host a host.
Oh, man.
I'm preaching now.
Go on with it then.
No, that's it.
Oh, okay.
Because then we're going to take the whole podcast on the sermon.
What you guys might not know about AP is AP can lay it down.
Yeah.
You should bring that one time.
What? A sermon?
No. Give us a spoken word or something.
Oh, okay.
Maybe a little
Give you
verse.
a few bars.
Give us the hook.
I got you.
Okay.
I'll come up with something.
All right. They're going to be asking for it, so don't let them down. You know that for all the people watching this right now.
When we reach 100,000 subscribers,
he's going to lay down some bars. Help us get there, people. Oh, man. So, what you been up to?
Well, a lot. I mean, we've been enjoying, Patros.
Yeah.
We've launched it recently. There's no time that we've specifically launched it.
Yeah.
Because this is a timeless podcast.
It's timeless.
But, just enjoying everything that Man Up is doing that, we've got going on.
Yeah.
Church partners, so many churches wanting to get involved in the fight for the fatherless. People like pastors at my church just wanting to really understand what's going on and actually get engaged in discipling men to do so. So, loving it.
Well, and I will timestamp it a little bit because...
All right. I just wasn't going to do it,
because,
it's not my place.
It's an exciting time.
I mean, we got somebody here that might timestamp that.
Yeah, it's an exciting time. So just seeing all that God has done and, the Patros idea was birthed really 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. And it's finally come to fruition.
Crazy. It's been a crazy ride.
Yes. And so for those who have not checked out, you've only been on this podcast, you haven't checked out the actual website, you're missing it. You're missing just an amazing series that the Lord allowed us to put together. And I'm excited because we got a guest in the house. We got the man of the hour.
That guy.
That guy.
His pronouns are that guy.
That guy. That's Jesus, man.
Yeah. That guy that follows the guy.
The guy.
Oh, man. So we're excited to have him in.
Yes, sir.
So, Cam?
Yeah.
How you doing, bro?
Doing good. Appreciate you guys for having me, man. It's a dope setup.
Oh, yeah. That's all Allan, man. All credits Allan.
Jesus.
Legit.
You just keep it funneling to Jesus.
Okay, that's it.
Hey, he's the light.
Right in the center.
I see what you did.
And we can only see the true perspective of ourselves with the light.
Go ahead.
Bro, we could keep going.
Go ahead, Pastor.
But, I will tell you this, though. It's hot in the studio today.
I don't know why. Should I go do the AC real quick?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just going to sweat, Mm-hmm. So it's all good. If you want the
I feel
co-host
like
to be
Africa
uncomfortable.
felt better than this.
It was.
Yeah.
It's better than Columbus, Ohio right now, though. It's about 20 degrees. I'm feeling a little better.
Ooh.
Let me tell you, the outside air temperature is delicious right now.
That's a really random word to use for like weather.
I don't know. It seemed like it
you
was
just
right.
walk outside like, dang, it's delicious today.
It's delicious. It's delish.
Bro, the thing though with the cold is the fits that you could wear.
Crazy. That's why I need all 4
just
seasons.
layered up.
You know what I mean? I don't like the snow too much, but I need 4 seasons.
Yeah, because you got your summer fits, your spring fits. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't get too much of that down here.
No, you just got shorts.
Yeah, you got to go. You had to go to Columbus in the middle of winter.
You probably don't go to Columbus.
Who wants to do that?
Unless you're an Ohio State fan.
Who's not an Ohio State fan?
Hey, you know what? Who is not OH?
Who's not IO?
Let's go. Let's go.
Shout out all of our Michigan people watching.
Oh, man.
I'm neither, so.
Oh, man. No, but it is a special Ohio State kind of podcast.
Yeah.
It's
for
a
those
Jesus
of you,
kind of podcast.
It's a Jesus podcast wrapped up in Ohio State hoodie.
Swaddle?
A blankie. Swaddled.
Jesus podcast wrapped up in scarlet and gray. Man.
That's what I'm talking about. That's
Facts.
why I'm wearing my scarlet and gray
But
shirt.
you really got dripped up for this.
Well, let's go. Scarlet and gray.
Look at this.
Don't-
Y'all
You got
see
the
this.
hat too.
Hey,
yeah,
but it
It's
was
too
way
hot for him to wear
way
it.
too hot in here
Bro,
for me
right
to wear
here.
the beanie,
you
though.
You just rep it right here.
That's it.
Oh, yeah.
Put it right there. Oh, yeah.
You can do it like this, right? How can we fit it on here?
Just put it on your mug.
There you go. For those of you who don't know Kam Babb, he's going to be able to share his story with us. But one of the things we really want to focus on is kind of that, like, life out of the lights.
Yeah.
Because for most people who are in your position, it really is all about, you know, that time on the field and what that brings, right? And, you know, Kam played at Ohio State, was a 2-time captain, block O recipient, which I want you to share why block O is important.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
But injuries really kind of derailed. But at the same time, like, you got a taste of it all.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's so easy to misplace your priorities in that environment.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, it is.
And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. And the other thing I'm really excited about is, you know, this podcast is really, Patros, the idea is this, like, passing on wisdom, right, from generation to generation. And, you know, we got Allan kind of representing the millennial down to a little bit of the Gen Z, you know, kind of on the top end of that. And I'm your Gen X millennial, mostly millennial, but a little Gen X, so I can relate to that. But we haven't had a true Gen Z.
That guy.
Gen Z
Yeah, the
represent,
Gen
man.
Z.
I gotta represent Gen Z.
Gen
you know?
Z. So, like, I know we've got some older folks. We probably got some boomers on who are listening. We got, you know, some older Gen Xers.
Don't know
that
how
are
to fast
listening.
forward on YouTube.
So they have to listen to the whole thing.
I was trying to like the picture and it keeps going forward 10 seconds. It's like, no, you
And
don't.
why are you making fun of the boomers, man?
Oh, I wasn't.
You were
we
busting
got-
on
we
the
got the guy.
boomers, man.
Just fast forward.
Just say, "Hey Siri, fast forward
That's
2
it.
minutes." That's all you gotta
That's all
do.
you gotta do.
So let's start with. Oh, but what I was saying is, like, the generational. I'm excited to see some of the different generational pieces because, you know, you get fixed in a way, and I think the older you grow in life, it's just easy to say, "I figured out what works." And I'm gonna stick with it. Like, I don't need to change because I figured out what works. Well, something may work, but that doesn't mean it's God's best for you.
Yeah.
Like, you could have something that is good, but it's not the best. And we settle too often for the good.
Yeah.
And so I think it's an opportunity, even though there is a lot of wisdom that the older generation can pass on to your generation. I do think there are some things that y'all can help correct in the older generation. So, like, one of the things that should be happening is this, like, reciprocal conversation where it's like a two-way flow. And then, you know, knowing when it's time to, you know, shut up and listen, and then knowing when it's time to speak. And the Proverbs say a lot about that, right? Like, knowing you know, having the discernment about when you talk and when you listen. So why don't we? I'm gonna start the story where you and I met.
Yep. Love to.
And then we'll move. We'll move backwards.
Yeah.
Right. And then we'll move forward to see where we're at. So cool.
So how'd you guys meet?
Oh, thanks, Allan.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. So Kam. Now I'm a Ohio State fan, so I'm watching a game in 2022, watching the Indiana game, and this dude, Kam Babb, scores a touchdown, and the team just mauls Kam. Like, they got a 15-yard penalty, and, like, everybody's hugging him, and the announcers are crying. I'm, like, starting to cry. Like, it was very
Did you know any of the
emotional.
backstory at this point?
I only knew that Kam was a highly, like, touted recruit, and I knew that he was injured. But I didn't follow the rest. I'm not in the Columbus market,
Yeah,
so I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
get all of that news and stuff. Yeah. So that's all I really knew, and I was like, oh, yeah, I remember this dude. So I was like, I was emotionally touched watching, and your mom was there, and you went over and hugged her, and I was all this stuff, right? And so I caught in my feed later that day the press conference. And so I'm listening to Kam and CJ Stroud, who's quarterback, and for 17 minutes, those two talked about Jesus. And I'm just like, bro, like they're not even pulling punches right now. It's just like they would ask a question. He's like, yeah, let me tell you about Jesus. Like they redirected everything back to Jesus. And so in the Patros Project, there was like one thing missing. I knew kind of what I wanted to do with it.
Yeah, I remember that. Like the whole process of us talking through that, it was just like, what are we going to, like, what's the... How
does it all come together?
Jeff had like an epiphany moment.
Yeah. And my epiphany was like, man, wouldn't that be cool if we got Kam? Yeah. So I was like, this is obviously a young dude who is on fire for Jesus. Yeah. And, you know, we were trying to find, like, not higher profile guys necessarily, but like we wanted to get a little bit of name recognition, right? So that folks go, oh yeah, I know that guy. I've heard of that
familiarity.
guy. Yeah. And so anyway, long story short, it worked out. We got connected, did a Zoom, and
it's crazy.
You know, he was like, yeah, man, this is awesome. Let's go. So
shout out to Jordan.
Yeah, shout out to Jordan. My agent. I don't even like calling him my agent, really just a brother in Christ.
Yeah.
Really. Yeah, but shout out to him for, you know, setting it all up.
Yeah, he's a homie.
He did. Yeah. I remember I just sent an email, and then, you know, you don't think you'll hear back and whatever, and then like Wednesday, that was like on a Sunday or Saturday night. On Wednesday, get a call from this dude named Jordan, and I'm like, oh man, this is dope. So it's just awesome, and then like we just connected. I think like being like our spirits, and just realizing that this is what we're trying to do here is for the Lord, and so that's how we got connected. And so from there it was like, all right, what is this project going to look like? And man, we were on a whirlwind with the project.
Ups and downs.
It was
canceled flights.
I mean, my goodness. I mean, maybe before like we hear your story, like talk a little bit about the project. So the Patros, like the Man As Series, if you're a subscriber of ours, then you have access to that.
Shameless plug. If you want more Patros content, you can become a subscriber at patros.com. All right, go ahead.
Patros.us.
Yeah, you feel me.
If you're the co-host, you better get that right. So anyway, click the link below. That's what you had to say. Click the link below.
I just made myself have to edit now.
That will always be good.
Yeah.
But like, talk about the project a little bit. Like, you got to. I mean, what was the project essentially?
Yeah. So essentially, this fight for the fatherless that you guys, that Holy Spirit put on your guys' heart. Just involving a young Gen Z kid going around talking to other older men of God that have kind of walked this walk a little bit longer than me. And that's really have a heart for the community, for, I think, younger men. And I think just having people that were in my life that I got to do this with, and then men that I'd never really heard of, and getting to hear their story and hear them as fathers, as mentors, and just how they reach the community. I think just getting to talk with them, that was kind of the biggest thing that I loved about it. So I think we did eight total videos. A few of those were kind of messed up. Not a few. How many were there? Were 10 total, or was it 8?
We had 10 total, but you were the star. You were our guy in 8 of those.
And 8 of those, yeah. So there was 2 of them. One of them I wasn't able to make it because of.
Oh, that
was
a big one
like
too.
So,
for any football.
Like everything that could go wrong with that weekend went wrong.
It went wrong.
And I just like feel horribly about that, because that was the one where
just sabotage it so that he could talk.
we were interviewing Tony Dungy, and Kam was gonna be on, and then like Tony, like he's like, oh man, we didn't know that Friday was the kids are out of school, so my wife planned a getaway, and then like your flight was delayed because we were supposed to be with KB that weekend too.
Isn't that the weekend you just came down and chilled because you already had a flight or something?
Yeah, did I come down and chill?
No.
I didn't even come.
You didn't come down?
No, you came down.
I thought you came down and literally there was nothing to shoot.
No, because there was nothing to shoot. But when on the plane there was something to shoot. But by the time he landed, KB had missed
both
his.
Had canceled. Which low key I felt good about that because I wasn't in town. So
man,
I was able to slide.
About do nothing with selfish ambition, man.
That's not selfish. It's selfless.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Community. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
What are you doing here?
Yeah. Keep telling yourself that.
I love it.
Yo, I got a quick question. In your process of this, in the beginning of it, what was your like perception or perspective?
Yeah.
Versus like later.
Yeah. At first, I didn't really know what to think. I think I was very surprised in terms of the production, and just I remember the first day we shot on a baseball field and just got the makeup on and doing all this stuff behind the scenes. Like, dang, I never put on makeup before. So I knew it was legit. because obviously you get on a Zoom call at first and you hear like the idea is awesome. I love the idea, but then it's like, okay, well, how is the product actually going to look? Once we got the vision, but how's it going to come together?
From a content perspective, like in your Zoom call and all that stuff, like about the fight for the fatherless and everything, how'd you feel, or like what was your perspective on that? Like, were you like, man, I didn't know people were actually out here doing this?
Yeah.
Or what? Like,
yeah, I didn't know. Like, I have friends and close brothers that I would say that dealt with stuff like this just growing up in football. And, you know, you got guys from all over in the football world that single mom, don't really either have both parents in the household or something like that. So I knew it was a problem. I'm just seeing it in my life and seeing the deconstruction of the family just in culture today. So I knew it was a problem. But like outside of like a Sunday service where a pastor is talking about the need for fathers or Jesus as, you know, Father, God as Father, I didn't know there was a project like this being put together. So when Jeff came and he said this is the idea, I was like ecstatic about it just because I've seen people in my life truly be affected by it. And even in my own story, you know, I was blessed to have a dad, mom, and a stepmom. So just there was a lot even in that kind of, I guess you can say, those relationships. And I love my parents and they fought for me. So I was a lucky one to have three plus people like really loving and fighting for me. But then for the ones that didn't have a father, you just see how
the turmoil.
Later on in life, like, oh, this is why you act the way that you do. Or this is why you have that hatred in a sense in your heart. You have it because, you know, whatever it may be, and there's deep roots of things, you know, and Jesus knows that. And so again, when I heard this, man, I was like, you know, if I could be a part of this and a part of what God's doing through you guys, I would love to, just because of the locker room atmosphere and what I've seen from a brother standpoint. So
and I think, like, you know, for most of us who grew up in, like, if we grew up in sports at all, like, we understand that locker room environment. Because the locker room doesn't change whether you're, you know, I don't care if you're at a high school, at a local high school, or you're, you know, at a professional level. Like, there's a certain intimacy that happens in a locker room. Because A, you're with each other so much, so just time breeds intimacy. But B, like, you see each other at,
you've seen it all.
Like, at your best, at your worst. But all that to say, like, there's just an intimacy in the locker room. But then also, like, that's also the place where you know, some people they'll cut loose, right? So they'll say things that maybe they wouldn't say, you know, in the classroom or even at home or whatever. And so you do kind of get the real and raw.
I mean, you think about it. You're with, like, I was with some of my teammates. I lived with them. We go to practice. I'm with them all day. Like, the only time I'm not with them is when I'm in class, really. And usually, sometimes you're in class with the same guys. So, like, for the past 4, especially the guys that you come in with, you're with these same guys for 4 or 5 years. And so, through the injuries, through, you know, people, sadly, you know, family members have died in certain people's lives. So you just see a lot of guys in their true self.
And you watch them shift and grow and change.
Wow. And I've gotten a chance to not only in my life see how God's worked, but even in just the way that conversations shift. You know, we had a guy, Master T, and he really followed the Lord. Coming in, I thought he was like weird because I wasn't following Jesus. So I'm like, there's no way you're not doing the things that we're doing, just that normal college students do.
This is what college kids do. We party and we,
you know. And then as God touched me, and then start touching more people on the team, and then we start having these conversations where it starts out with 2 or 3 of us. We're all chilling in the hot silver in the locker room, and next thing 15 people are standing around and asking questions of like, well, we all kind of had these same questions, but sometimes people are just scared to like come out and really say it. So there is a deep yearning for, like, in the locker room, just human beings, for us to know God. Like, there's a deep yearning. I believe there's a God out there, but like, how do I access him? How do I get to him? Who is he? Like, you know what I mean? So seeing those conversations shift, it was awesome. It was awesome.
So let's talk a little bit about your story and how you got to Ohio State. You know, you were a highly recruited athlete, right? And from the St. Louis. It's from the Lou.
It's the crib, you know, 314.
The 314. So my parents live in the St. Louis area, so I have an affinity. I know it's high school and everything.
Best in the nation, CBC. Shout out to
Did
CBC
you live near that?
CBC, they're like just 20 minutes from. I went to SC West, so it's like 25 minutes away. But we played CBC like.
Were y'all competitive?
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
I
Like,
don't know what. Yeah.
Listen, I was playing
That's a whole different world. That's a whole different world.
Yeah, that's Gen X, SC
When you
West.
were being raised there, like, we don't play them.
But hold up. But see, we were actually better in basketball
Yeah.
because we won a state championship.
You were a basketball school.
We were a basketball school,
yeah.
but I was a football guy. So I played basketball. We won the state championship. We played.
You were the Draymond Green, just empower the enforcer.
No, I was like in the beginning of the year as I first got off the bench. At the end of the year, I was like 15th on the bench. Like I was terrible by the end of the year. Like, I was filling space. But we played. We played Larry Hughes.
Yeah.
Larry Hughes was CBC graduate. Man, who else went
Was
to CBC?
Justin Tatum on that team?
No, Tatum.
He
was after. Yeah, he was after. But
for those that don't know, that's Jason Tatum's father, which he coached at CBC while I was there. So
yeah.
That's crazy.
So it's good prodigy.
Similar roots. I feel like you're from everywhere.
Oh, man.
Connected, man.
No, that's just another. That's more trauma.
Oh yeah.
In my life, that's why I am the way that I am.
That makes a lot more sense.
Okay.
I can see why you're upset, sir.
So anyway, tell us a little bit about your upbringing and
Yeah.
how you got to Ohio State.
Okay, yeah. So grew up. I was originally born in Columbia, Missouri. So I lived with my mom.
Mizzou.
Yeah, that's where Mizzou's at. Yeah. So I had a pretty decent year this year.
They
man.
had a great year.
Yeah. ABC,
Good for them.
Which the thing, I got to say this real quick. Down south, I don't understand it. I really don't. All the SEC schools, like it's like you guys vote. You're cheering for each other. Like I would never cheer for a team
that you.
or like a Michigan State. Like I care less what Michigan State does.
Yeah.
But like an Alabama fan, if they're not playing LSU, they'll cheer for. If LSU wins, the Alabama fan wins in their mind, or Florida State.
Because it makes them feel better that
SEC.
they're like from a harder.
The SEC is so arrogant. You SEC people.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
Hey, bro, just don't lump me in with these two because I don't.
Man, you know what? I'm not afraid to say it.
I'm
But
I'm
dog,
from here.
My dog, Terrell Mitchell, played for Florida this year. He transferred, so he did pretty good. But yeah, so I think so. Growing up, I went to St. Louis with my dad when I was 7. And that's kind of when I got introduced to the game of football. I would say. I went from public school to private. I was kind of getting into trouble at public, so I guess when you're getting in trouble at public, send your kid to private school and fix everything. I guess that's the motto.
Private school will fix it.
Private school will fix it.
The same problems, just more money.
That's it. So I got really not big, but the Catholics and Catholicism and all that, going to mass 2 times a week, but not really having a lot of questions and didn't know really how to answer them or who to go to answer them. And I had a Gigi. Shout out to all the strong mothers and grandmothers out there.
Yeah, y'all do work,
man. Straight up. So my Gigi growing up, when I was living with my mom, really showed me the heart of God, I would say. And I remember I didn't understand it, but just not even what she said, but how she lived, how she loved others. That was my example, I would say. And then I had a grandmother on my dad's side, Grandma Edna. She died when I was 7. But I've recently went back and looked at her Bible and seen her prayers and just everything that she kind of prayed for me, which is awesome.
Like she had them written down.
Yeah, like
That's
in the Bible,
fire.
like it was awesome to see that. Right. So grew up knowing of Jesus, experienced him when I was younger a little bit, but got into football, and that quickly became my identity. That quickly became, first of all, I hated it when I first started. I was like that kid that was in the yard killing everybody. So I was like, let me throw on some pads and a helmet. It's the same thing. It's a different, I don't know, it's different.
Man, I'm so glad. Like, I asked him this a couple weeks ago, like, because Asher started playing football.
Yeah.
And he's so physical around the house.
Yeah.
And then I was like, man, he's going to just dominate out there.
You put those pads on.
They put the pads on. It is a different
I don't know what it is. It's just, I don't know if it's a mental block or whatever it is. But after the first year, you get used to it. Yeah. But I was definitely. I remember first practice got put down by like a smaller rail. If you ever see this, I love you, man. Hope you follow Jesus, man. Little rail, put me down, man. And after that, I was like, man, I'm ready to quit. But my dad, he was like, you started it. You wanted to sign up, so now we're gonna finish it. And then after that first year, if I wanted to stop, I could stop. And that competitive nature kind of came out in me. And really from there, it was like this gradual. I would like to say I worked hard, but like I kind of did, but like it was just God given, I would say. And then got to high school freshman year at CBC in St. Louis, and started one game varsity, messed up, ran the wrong route, got locked up. So they took me right out. And then so that following year, my sophomore year is kind of like my breakout season. We played our first game at Mizzou, went crazy, and then really from there it was by the end of the season, just schools started coming left and right. I think my first offer was Nebraska, I want to say. And then it kind of just started building from that. Junior year, kind of had most of the schools I wanted. But to backtrack, I got Ohio State offered me after my sophomore season when I went up for a
Now,
camp.
for folks, because, like, a lot of folks had not gone through that process where they're getting recruited like that. And, like, recruiting has changed in the last 2 decades as well. So what does the recruiting process look like when they're pursuing you?
Yeah, and I would say it's even crazier now just with NIL, and because that was a little bit before. I was kind of before it, and then
because now they could just offer you like a lump sum.
Yeah, now it's like, all right, well, what are you paying me kind of thing. At least not everybody can say that, but like the top guys.
Can say it.
Yeah. But for me, it was kind of surreal just because you get like these coaches that you've watched your whole life on TV, and now they're calling your phone. So, you know, specifically Coach Meyer, because Ezekiel Elliott is from St. Louis, so seeing what he did, he won a national championship in 2014 there. And so seeing all that was like surreal. I remember he called me like at 5 o'clock one day. So I got up and acted like I just got done like working out or something, getting ready for school. I was knocked out. What are you doing? Calling my phone at 5 o'clock.
He's testing you.
Yeah, because I love you, man. But nah, he but it was surreal though. It was surreal, and just getting a chance to go to these different schools and see it. Recruiting now is different from when you like once you step on campus and you're not a recruit anymore. It's like, all right, you're not that guy. And so, I was definitely blessed and honored. And really from the jump when I got my Ohio State offer, it was like, okay, this is a school I really, really love because of the developments outside of football. But it came down to LSU, I would say, and Ohio State. Yeah, so.
And you chose Ohio State because
Ohio State.
Was it because of Urban, or was it like what? Why Ohio State?
Yeah, I felt I think my parents did a really good job of. It's more than football, like it's bigger than football, and just the network of Ohio State, and even Columbus is growing just from a business standpoint.
Yeah.
And just
Columbus
so much going on. It's crazy. And just like I'm going everywhere, I'm seeing people with Ohio State shirts on
everywhere,
OH and IO. Like I was in Jamaica seeing people with Ohio State shirts.
Yes,
that's the thing.
I was like, bro, this network is crazy. And so it was more like just the outside football, but obviously like you can get to the league from Ohio State, LSU, Bama, all those schools, but like it was like the man that I wanted to be at that time. I could see myself becoming this man at Ohio State.
For sure.
So then
that's wise at a young age.
Yeah. So fast forward to like your junior year, you have a great year, and then senior year comes around.
Yeah, then senior year comes around, and senior year is really I had committed to Ohio State, I think, at this time, and so I was like, all right, I got the offer. I'm going to the school. I just want to enjoy high school football with my friends, and it was 2 weeks before the first game. And we had a dad's practice. And at this dad's practice, my dad was standing maybe like 10 feet away from me. We were just doing like one-on-ones just for fun kind of thing. Go up for a ball, catch it. Right when I put my foot on the ground, just hear like a little snap or
never in the game.
Crack
it's just,
or whatever. Yeah.
Shoot.
Not even game. I'm feeling, all right, I'm about to have a crazy season. Because I was a 4-star at this point. And I was like, all right, if I have even a decent season, I'll be a 5-star. Like, I went to all the camps, I did everything, so I just got to have a good season.
So, like, for those who don't know, I don't know how much you know about recruiting.
4-star,
You know all of that.
Yeah.
And you were going to camps with, like, Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson.
So I went to Jamar Chase in my class, Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, like all the guys that you kind of see. Chris Olave, he came in with me. So all the guys that are doing their thing in the league, which is dope.
So he was with all these guys, right? So the talent level,
like neck and neck.
The talent level was there. And obviously at this point too, though, it's very much your identity.
Yeah, very, very much. It was based on what I do on Friday nights, or what people think about me, what coaches think about me. Like that's who I am. Yeah. So and I think that's anything, even if you're not a football fan or whatever it may be, like whether you're in business or a photographer, I don't know, whatever people are into. Like it's so easy to get caught up in like the day-to-day, how I perform with my job or with my family, whatever it may be. Like that's who I am. And as we'll probably get into it, that's, I would say, the opposite of what the Bible teaches.
For sure.
So yeah.
So you tore your ACL.
Yeah.
They honored the scholarship though.
Yeah, they honored. Yeah. I remember I tore it. I remember I pulled up to the crib. My mom was at my dad's house. I was like, that never happened. So I'm like, what's going on here? Again, love you, Dad and Mom. I'm just want to say that, loving parents. But I was like, that never really happened. So I already kind of knew what it was. So I remember we sat down as a family, called Coach Meyer, and he stayed true. He's like, man, we're still sticking with
That's
you. We
fire.
love your character. We love everything about you. So now it was, okay, let's rehab. For a 17-year-old, let me step back. For a 17-year-old that towards ACL, like that was heartbreaking to me. That was the hardest at that point in my life.
Everything you worked for.
That was like, dang, that was really crushing. And now it's like the mental block of, okay, I'm about to go to school, and this is one more thing I have to worry about is getting healthy in the, not just the physical barrier, but like this, when I put my foot on the ground, can I trust my knee to hold all the cuts and everything? So yeah, rehab for like 9 to 12 months, and then got to campus that first year, and
Happened
again. Yeah. So
Other knee.
Yeah. So you want me to go into So got to campus, still not feeling as confident. Like I'm just like, man, this is a new atmosphere. Like I'm with guys that I went to a few Ohio State games, and the same guys that I was watching win these games, I'm like, they're my teammates.
That's crazy.
Yeah, like Terry McLaurin, Paris Campbell, and Johnny Dixon. Like those are the 3 older guys that I got to really kind of follow behind. And
all guys that are in the NFL.
And so seeing them was really crazy. But we did a drill. This is before we even put on the pads, and make a cut, and boom, my other ACL. And at this point, it was heartbroken, and I was like, dang, man, like I worked all this time. Not only just, again, not physically, but like I'm putting everything that I have into it emotionally. Because the ACL, I would say, is rehabbing from that is probably one of the hardest, based on what I've talked to people, it's probably the hardest rehab.
Really?
You got like Achilles and stuff, but like, and maybe, I don't know, I've just done ACL really. So that was a struggle. I didn't want to have to go through that again, but now I was like, okay, I got the right and the left. It kind of like, it balances out.
You know? I'll be stronger for it.
I'll be stronger.
There's no other leg for this to
exactly. So, and I get to learn the playbook. I get to, just get more acquainted with Ohio State.
True.
And
you didn't use a year of eligibility, so it's almost like, I'm gonna be ahead.
I'll be ahead of the game. I get to really. I didn't even have to use a medical. I just redshirted because I was a freshman. So I just redshirted, and then got ready for that next year. But in the midst of this, when I didn't have football, it was like, okay, what are you doing outside of school, right? And that's when, just to be honest and to be real. So I smoked a little bit in high school, but it wasn't because I'm just this moral guy. It was because I was just ready for football. I'm trying to get my body right for football. And the school that I went to, we did like a hair drug test. So I was like, I'm not taking no chances. So I didn't drink at all. I thought alcohol was nasty, which it definitely is, in my opinion.
It's poison.
Again, unless you know.
At the end of the day.
It was nasty to me. And so got to school, and after I tore my ACL, it was my birthday weekend. I remember some guys were like, Cam, come out. And really from that moment, it was kind of downhill, and started drinking, started smoking a little bit more than I probably usually have, and I would say I enjoyed it. I was having a great time. I was having a great time, and even it says in the word, like, sin is pleasure before a season. For a season of your life, it's like, oh, this is good. This is good.
Drink,
like,
be
I'm
merry,
living life, right? Like this whole motto, like even I'll say in Gen Z of, I could have fun right now, and then when I'm 30, 35, like settle down. Have a family, whatever the motto is. But then I'm realizing, like, you got people that, just dying, and, you never know, like, life is but a vapor, just like that. And so get lost in it, and then I come around to that next year and rehab all over again. And I'm dealing with the girl situation too as well, which my identity is still kind of wrapped up in, like, this ungodly relationship that I had been in, that I didn't, truthfully, I was like, in my mind, to be with a woman, and if I'm just with this one woman, I can have sex with her. Like, even if I know I'm trying to marry her, like, in my mind, again, I have no.
I'm married, basically.
I was basically living a married life, which is what I would say a lot of people do. Outside of marriage, you know, just living a married life, and so it comes down to this next year, and same exact drill from my freshman year, same exact drill. I remember stepping up to the line, and me and my guy, shout out to Adam Stewart, call him Stewie. He's my rehab guy at Ohio State. I remember, like, man, we've practiced this over and over and over again. So I get up to the line, I'm nervous, but I'm going to trust it. Right when I put my foot on the ground, boom.
Do y'all want to hear more of that conversation? Well, you can by becoming a Patros subscriber. You'll get exclusive member-only content. Just go to the link in the description or go to the Patros website.
Yeah, and when you become a subscriber, like what you're telling us is that you enjoy this content and you want to hear more of it. So every dollar that you give helps us do just that.
So thank you again for listening as we just together go on this journey of embracing healthy masculinity.